This is Jason Shea, founder and CEO of Seller Fuel and Lucky Kid. This week we have another interesting episode of our Seller Fuel Life. Today's format is very easy. It's called Ask Me Anything. So I have a guest with me, Phil. You want to introduce yourself a little bit?
Yeah, so my name is Philip Mai. I work a 9 to 5 job and managing our consulting practice, and really want to get involved in the e-commerce space and wanting to find a side hustle essentially.
I
And
see.
seeing you here in your business and how it's grown so far, kind of want to be independent and kind of to be at the level that you get to.
Oh, thank you. So tell me a little bit more about your 9 to 5, because sometimes some of the skill you have in your 9 to 5 job is transferable to
Mhm.
e-commerce business. So tell me a little bit more about your current job.
Yeah, so I am a manager in our cybersecurity consulting practice. A lot of
Oh.
it, yeah, it's not really 9 to 5. I say it's 9 to 5, but it definitely like spans longer. But essentially, we help
So it's
organizations
like a night to so is it a 9 to
mm,
9?
9 to
9
whenever
to
work
9?
gets done,
Okay, got it.
and work never gets
So,
done. So I'll tell
okay.
you that.
So how long have you been in that industry? Is it like security or like what kind
Mhm.
of security?
Yeah, cybersecurity,
Oh,
especially
cyber
specifically
security.
in cloud security. So I really started
Oh,
off in our like tech assurance slash like IT auditor
I
practice, and
I
moved into
see.
more of our consulting role now in cyber in cloud security.
Oh,
But it's been
interesting,
about
interesting.
8 years.
8 years. Whoa,
Yeah,
okay.
a lot of
Where
working with clients. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
oh, so where are you living in right now? What state?
Yeah. I'm now based out of Dallas.
Oh, you're in Dallas, Texas. Okay, okay. I'm in Phoenix, Arizona. Actually, I've
Wow.
been to Texas a few times. I was just there last Christmas. I did a road trip from
Wow.
Arizona. Then we visit Albuquerque, New Mexico. Then we drove
Mhm.
to Oklahoma City. Then we drove to Dallas, Houston, then San Antonio.
Oh,
So
that's awesome.
I like to travel a lot. That's the nice thing about running an e-commerce or online business. I can work in from the hotel. I
Mhm.
can work from Japan. I can work from Taiwan. I can work
Yeah.
from anywhere. And this summer, I'm actually traveling in Asia. I will be visiting 4 to 5 different countries during the summer,
Mhm.
and while I'm working. So it's just a nice thing about having an online business. I don't really need to be anywhere. I can be everywhere.
Yeah. Hopefully one day I'll get to that level as well.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit more about why do you want to start looking into starting an e-commerce business after this 8 year of the career that you already have?
Mhm. I mean, I'm sure like a lot of other folks who want to be more independent and not work for somebody have the same kind of mindset of owning your own business and not
Mm,
having to work with somebody for the rest of your life. Kind of similar to what you just mentioned right now about being
mm,
able to grow and
yeah.
work from anywhere.
Mm.
Really, like I want to have that in my future as well.
I see, I see. And I have a live viewer say, I want to be like you when I grow up. Thank you for the comment.
That's what I'm
That's
hoping for
funny.
too here. I want to be like you as well.
Yeah, well, I don't know how much do you follow my journey closely. Is definitely not an overnight success. It's more like a over 6 year, and I kind of got lucky a little bit. But I think the main thing is I never gave up on my journey, and
Mhm.
I failed a lot.
Okay.
Just one story I always share to a lot of the people that I talk to, especially is e-commerce is a hard industry. It's not easy. A lot of the YouTube guru will say, "Oh, it's easy. Go sell something on Amazon. You will
Mhm.
have a Lamborghini in 6 months." Totally not true. I still don't have my Lamborghini after 6 years. Totally not true. E-commerce is not a get rich quick. It's almost like a get rich slowly kind of business.
Uh,
However, it's a little bit easier to start. Just to give you an example, for example, if you want to buy a franchise, like a McDonald's franchise, do you know how much it costs to start a McDonald's?
uh, it's up there, right? In the
Half a
couple
million
hundreds.
dollar, about half a million dollar, because you need the space, you need the team, you need to buy the franchise, you need to buy all the freaking equipment, that buy all the burgers and stuff.
Mhm.
It's almost like $500,000. It depends on location, of course. If you want to go open something in like California, definitely $500,000. Where if you open somewhere in more rural area, might be a little bit cheaper, maybe a quarter
Mhm.
of $1 million, but it's still a lot of cash. Whereas an e-commerce business, I believe when I first started, I started out with about 10 grand. So $10,000. And I didn't start out running my own brand neither. When I first started, I started out flipping books. So I will go to like Goodwill, thrift stores, and Value Village, Salvation Army, and buy used textbook and sell them on Amazon for a profit. I'll buy a book for $5 and sell it for $50 on Amazon.
Mhm.
And I do that on the weekend. And I did that for the entire year in 2016. So let me share my screen, and I can share my story with you a little bit. And it's also to kind of inspire you, and also share some of my personal journey, because it was never really easy. And a lot of people in this industry will say, "Oh, this is an easy business. You can be quick. You can be rich, super quickly." But unfortunately, that's usually not the case. So the way when I started, I don't know if you can see my screen here.
Let's
Uh,
see.
so Lucky Kid, this is one of my main brand. The picture you see here, this is my son. He's the reason why I started this business back in 2007, 16-ish. So a quick background story is because our son was diagnosed with autism and ADHD while we were living in Japan. That was in 2013. I believe, or you also raised and born and raised in Asia, or were you born and raised in US?
Well, I was actually well, I was born in Asia, but I grew up in the U.S. and Hawaii.
Oh, okay. So you were born in China,
Yeah,
or
China,
what part of China?
Guangzhou.
Guangzhou. Okay, I'm going to Shanghai, Guangzhou, and Xiamen this summer.
Oh,
So it's just I have three factory over there. That's why. So
oh, wow.
anyway, back to my story. So our son was diagnosed with autism, ADHD while we were living in Japan. But Japan, just like most of the Asian country, there is a huge taboo around disability. Disability and sex is almost the same kind of taboo, as you know. People don't talk about those kind of things in Asia at all. So that lead to lack of opportunity, lack of resources, and lack of therapy for our son. The situation was so bad in Japan. Actually, we used to live in Tokyo, Japan, one of the largest metropolitan area in the world, but we can only find 2 therapy centers to go to in the entire metropolitan area. Not a good sign. I don't know. Do you have any kids yet?
Not yet, no.
Yeah, okay. Once you have kids, then you will see, like, as a parent, we try to do anything we can for the kids. And so that is kind of what forced me and my wife to decide to move to the United States. Fortunately, I have dual citizenship. I used to go to high school and college in California, and I speak English fairly decently as well. So it was an easy move for us. But imagine all the family still living back in Asia that have a kids with special needs, that have no way out and have no therapy options. They
Mhm.
got stuck. And that is what I create Lucky Kid right now, is really to make extra money to pay for the therapy, but it's also to help other kids just like my son that have special needs and doesn't have the help and resources. So currently we have product in 4 different categories: flexible seating, fine motors, weighted product, and we have some awareness product. Company wise, we do, I guess, average about 100K a month, give or take. It depends on the month. Some months is lower, some months is higher. And some months when Amazon lost our stuff, it's going to be lower, because last month Amazon lost a lot of our stuff. 2 of our inbound shipment, about 3,000 unit, Amazon lost everything, and we are actually in the investigation try to find out where do they lost it in their warehouse.
Wow.
That's why I say e-commerce is not easy business. There's so many like things you can break, and so many things can went wrong in e-commerce, and you can lose a lot of money quick. If you don't know what you are doing in e-commerce, you can lose a lot of money. Like the 3,000 unit I would just talk to you about, that's about like 10 grand of inventory that Amazon lost that they are trying to find right now. Hopefully they will find it. Hopefully. So
And that's the part where all the gurus don't tell you
they
about it.
don't talk about that. They will never talk about the time when they lose money, because they will only talk about the beauty side of it. Oh, the Lamborghini, the digital nomad, the working from the beach, but they didn't talk about I need to wake up at 5 a.m. every single morning to have meeting with my team, because
Mhm.
my team is in Philippines. I need to work and around my schedule, or at least adjust my lifestyle to fit with my team. Otherwise, it's not going to work. I mean, if I work a 9 to 5, it's not going to be a good time slot for my team, because they are like 12-hour differences between us. I mean, I forgot how many hours, maybe less than 12 hours, but you know what I mean. So
Right.
But going back to my story here is I see an opportunity and I try to create a brand to serve a particular audience. For you, since you're also in the beginning of your journey and thinking about starting your own brand, one of the major common mistake that I see people have is instead of finding the customer, they are trying to find the next product. So most of the guru, they'll teach you to do what? Use Helium 10, use Jungle Scout, use those Amazon tool, and type in the criteria. Okay, try to find a product you can sell for 15 that have a review less than 500, that have a sales velocity of a certain amount, size of a certain amount. That is not the right way to look at it. It's important to use it to validate your product before launch. I do agree with that, but that shouldn't be where you start. Where should you start? You should start by finding a profitable audience instead. For me, my audience is moms, parents with kids age 3 to 12 that have kids with special needs, autism, ADHD, sensory processing disorder, just like my son. That was my profitable audience. And that is the audience I want to serve with my brand. A lot of gurus don't talk about that. The other guru will try to teach you to find a garlic press and sell it on Amazon. It will never work. That's why you have like always the horror story that okay, I have a garage full of garlic press that I couldn't sell. Can someone help me sell it? You see this kind of story all the time because that's what the guru teaches. The guru teach you to find product using the criteria. But you know what? The same criteria that he teach you is the same criteria he teach to 5,000 students. So what happened is all the students tend to find very similar product, if not identical product, and all launch at the same time. Bad idea. That's how you get like a garage full of products stuck and you couldn't sell. And I talked to so many sellers, they got into that position because they didn't listen to the right guru, I guess. I'm not a guru. I'm just sharing my story, by the way. I'm not guru. I'm just sharing my story. And I'm doing decent, I guess. But I don't have a Ferrari. I don't have a Lamborghini. So I'm not going to show you my Ferrari because I don't have one. So, and I don't care for one neither. For me, it's really about lifestyle. The ability to live and work anywhere I want, and also work with something I feel passionate about, and I can work with the people I love and still contributing back to the society. That's what I want. I don't want a Ferrari. I want a Tesla actually. I don't want a Ferrari. But that's a whole different topic. I don't have a Tesla neither. I have a Honda Civic right now because I don't have the money to buy a Tesla yet. But at least I want working toward that goal. That's one of my bucket lists that I want to check out. But I want to show you this because you are in the very beginning, right? You haven't even started research. You haven't even started launching the product, right? So having the right mindset initially is critical because when people have the wrong mindset and jumping into e-commerce and seeing this is get rich quick scheme, that's how you set yourself up for failure. And I would not suggest you do that. And you need to come up with a way that make your brand and company different than everyone else. The way I make my company different is I believe in 3 different pillars: empower, support, and educate. Empower through our physical product, support through our online. We have online groups that we run, and we also do education like live shows, like live streaming we're doing right now for Seller Fuel. I do that for my own brand too. One of the show we run on a weekly basis is called Sensory Deal Live. We have a lot of different live stream show we have run in the past. This is the latest one. We are kind of beta testing or experimenting. The concept of this show that we do once a week is we feature different toys or different educational product in front of our 100,000 audience. We have about 35,000 people on our email list, about 10,000 on our SMS, and another 100,000 followers on our Instagram page. But we're trying to figure out what kind of product people will usually run. Have you watched a QVC show on TV before? QVC?
I've seen not on TV specifically, but like YouTube.
Yeah,
Yes.
so similar style. We're trying to do a QVC style like TV show, but internet show, but for moms. That's the concept behind the show, and we do that once a week. And I also partner with a lot of different nonprofit. One of the most well-known nonprofit we have been partnering with for a long time is called Culture City. They do a lot of wonderful program for kids and family that is affected by sensory needs. One of the biggest program they have is called Sensory Inclusive Initiative that's available in over 600 locations across US, Canada, Australia, and United Kingdoms. Actually, I think that in more countries nowadays, I just lost track. But the 600 location, including the Super Bowl stadiums, the NBA stadiums, the baseball stadiums, zoos, aquariums, cruise ships, and even the police station across the countries and across the world, pretty much. And what they'll do in all the locations is they'll provide staff training, so the staff is aware of the sensory challenges for the family like myself that have kids with special needs. When I take my son to a stadiums, he may get overwhelmed and he may have a meltdown. He may be screaming on the ground, or something might happen. Or the second thing they will also do is they provide physical tool. They call it sensory bag. As you can see in this picture, there's a kid wearing a backpack in front of Oregon Zoo. Inside the backpack have noise canceling headphone, fidget toys, and a weighted blanket that we help them to design. Not all the location have weighted blanket because you only need it for when the location have like a seating menu, like NBA Stadium. In the zoo, they usually don't have a weighted blanket because you don't really sit down somewhere in the zoo, you just walk around. However, we are one of their vendor pretty much. And I know the founder really, really well. The founder of Culture City is called Julian Maha. He is also an autism dad like me. His son is also on the autism spectrum. That is the reason why he started his nonprofit. Very similar to my origin story, because I started my brand because of what? My son.
Mhm.
Without my son's situation, I wouldn't be talking to you right now. I probably would be still living in Japan. So last but not least, Culture City also have a sensory program where they will help those locations to build sensory room. So all this thing is again, this is a product we designed for Culture City for them to use in their program, is a writable weighted blanket. That is a weighted blanket they can write on using a water pen. However, very tricky one to sell on Amazon because people don't know this kind of product exists. Amazon is a search volume based platform. If people don't search for it, then it's really, really hard to sell. And for this product, unfortunately, we have a lot of problem, or at least a lot of issue try to scale up the sales. It doesn't really go the way I wanted compared to some other product. But that's why you always need to experimenting with the e-commerce. That's a like saying in the industry, you should always be launching. You should always be launching another product, because whatever the success you have or the failure you have, you cannot guarantee the next product will be just as successful, or the next product is also not going. So you just need to keep on launching product. That is the nature of the e-commerce game. And the other thing for e-commerce business model you need to think in the long term is, how can you create a brand for exit or for sales to a future buyer in the future? Because you make the most amount of money when you sell your e-commerce business. When you're operating or owning the business, you are actually poor. You know why? The more you scale, the more cash flow you need. For the recent container shipment that we order, I think I spent about 30 grand on the freaking inventory, and I need to pay for the freight and all that. Everything come together is like 40 grand. So the more I grow, the bigger the shipment, the bigger the inventory I need to order, so I don't run out of stock. So when you are in the growth phase, you are always running out of cash. I'm not actually running out of cash right now because Amazon lost all my inventory that I spent so much money into. they lost my inventory. So that is the one thing that the guru never talk about, is they did never tell you how much cash you require to really scale a decent sized inventory, like a business. Because e-commerce is what? It's an inventory based business. How do you get inventory? You need to pay for it. You need to buy it. It's not like a digital product. And the other common misconception with e-commerce industry is a lot of people will teach you what? Drop shipping. I do not recommend drop shipping at all. The reason is because drop shipping is very risky, and the margin is really low, and the competition is super, super high. So that's kind of my business. I also have a school program called Sensory Inclusive Classroom I'm working on as well. Any question about the business, then I can answer some of your question too.
Well, I mean, I like most of my questions were really debunked when you said focus on the clientele rather than focusing on what product to sell. So
That's
like
important.
I had that mindset just because all those reading, like all those articles out there say,
Yeah,
hey, do your search, find the products that sell the most, like sell the best.
that's a wrong way to go. That's a wrong way to go, because I believe in business, if you follow the herd, you get slaughtered.
Mhm.
What you just described is following the herd. That's everyone do that because it's easy. It's easy to just follow the data, use Jungle Scout, use Helium 10, and just find a product and try to launch it. But 9 out of 10 is you will never be successful unless there's always a lucky one. Oh, I got lucky. I'm the first one to find this product before 10, like 100 other sellers find it. So,
Mhm.
and the other thing is when you do that approach, you will always be catching the product once you go like into the trend instead
Mhm.
of like creating the product or creating the trend from the beginning. You'll be catching the wave when people is already selling well because otherwise you won't even see the data. Like
Yeah.
to give you an example, one of the product I launched 2 years ago, when I first launched it, I was the only one on Amazon selling this particular product. 2 years later, now there's like everyone and their neighbor apparently copy me and rip me off and sell the same product at like 1/4 of my price, which is common with Amazon too. But I still outsell everyone on that search result for now. But I was doing in my peak, I was doing about 20,000 a month in revenue for that product. Right now, that product we're only doing about 10,000 because there's so many copycat that's copying us since we
Mhm.
started. That's why it's so important to keep on launching the product. But how can you launch product efficiently when you don't know who are you selling the product to, right?
Mhm.
The problem was another common problem with a lot of private label sellers is they will try to buy whole bunch of random product. They have a garlic press, they will have like a financing, then they have something for the pet. So what the heck are you doing? That's not a real business. It's like a you're just a product flipper. It's not a real brand. And that kind of business is never sellable because each of the product have no consistency. Whereas for me, all night product is trying to do what? Sell to the same customer. We only have two main avatar, like the one I say, mom was kids age 3 to 12. The other big audience for us is really the teachers. The teacher that's teaching in the primary school education or elementary school education here in the United States, that is our biggest customer. But I know that really well because I did a lot of study on like what kind of people will usually buy our product.
Mhm.
But you need to understand that as a brand owner. Unfortunately, a lot of people they call themselves Amazon seller, which I don't like that term at all. Never call yourself an Amazon seller because when you call yourself an Amazon seller, you're what? You're just working for Jeff Bezos. You're trying to make Jeff Bezos even richer. He's already like number one or number two richest man on earth. Why
Right.
do you need to make him richer, right? So the brand you own is yours. You are just using Amazon as a channel, as a platform to get your product in front of potential buyer. So I never call myself Amazon seller because like why do I call myself Amazon seller? I don't work for Jeff Bezos. So again, this is all about mindset. Having the right mindset will decide and kind of you already predetermine your success rate by having the right mindset in the beginning. If you have the wrong mindset, you will just end up with another garlic press sitting in your garage 3 months from now. So that's
Mhm.
pretty critical. Any other question you have?
Yeah, I
So
think one question based on what you said of like, hey, you make money the most when you sell. So would you say the mindset to have is make this brand, your branding of the company big enough so that you can sell it and like
yes,
sell it off, like you don't want to continue, and then you restart or like.
that is the common way of a lot of successful e-commerce people do it that way. I just don't do it that way because I'm so passionate about my brand. I don't want to sell it.
Mhm.
But a lot of people I know that's have a lot of success. For example, I will definitely suggest you to listen to Mike Jackness podcast. It's Mike Jackness, Jackson. He have a podcast called Ecom Crew, I believe. He is also a very very long time e-commerce seller. He owned about 3 or 4 different brands, and he actually sold one of his brand a couple years ago. But the benefit of selling your brand is because like I say, that's how you get the cash. Because you will never get a cash when you're growing the brand. You're always pouring the cash back into inventory. Then you have advertising expense, you have personnel expense, you have all this expense. You barely have a lot of cash. The reason why that's also one of the reasons why I started my own digital marketing agency is because the e-commerce at a certain scale right now, which I'm doing about 100K a month, I'm constantly looking for cash. It's like, how can I get more cash? Should I just borrow from the bank? Or how do I get the cash to scale? And having out my own agency is a way to get cash because agency is a what? A service-based business, whereas e-commerce is an inventory-based business. So business model-wise is really different. It's a lot harder to sell agency business compared to an e-commerce brand. However, there's a lot of buyers so the reason why you want to start with end in mind is because then that's how you get the cash to grow the second brand. Usually that's how people do it. And actually, surprisingly, you can sell the brand within 3 years if you do it correctly. 2 to 3 years. Most of the buyer is looking for a track record. How long have you been selling? Minimum is usually 12 months. If you're not selling for at least 12 months, it's really, really hard to sell because people just say like, oh, this guy just a newbie. He doesn't really know. His product is not even proven. He just want to sell because he's about to give up. Then people will take advantage of your brands. Oh, I'm just going to lowball this offer and just, buy for really, really cheap. That is not a position you want to be in. The position you want to be in is, okay, I already been selling for 2 years. I have, let's say, 5 product or 10 product, and I have 5 more that's ready to go. I just haven't have the cash to place the order. That is the best position to be in to negotiate for the sale, because people is not only buying for your existing product, they are also buying for your future product that you already did the research, you already have do the development, you already do the design, but you just haven't placed the order yet. That is where you can get really, really high multiple. So in the e-commerce business space, usually you can sell the business about 3 to 5x or multiple of your EBITDA, or it stands for net profit. It's just another fancy way of saying net profit. So just to give you an idea, usually a typical private label business model, your gross net profit will be around 10 to 20%. Let's just do a very, very conservative math. Let's just say, okay, you're able to grow your business to $1 million a year in revenue. Your net profit will most likely, it depends on your team, it depends on your advertising, it depends on so many different factors. But if you do it really, really well, hopefully you can get your net profit to about 15-20%. Just keep the math simple here. Let's just say 15%. So your net profit after all expenses and paying yourself like a small salary should be around 150K net profit. 150K is your net profit for that first year. Times that by 3 is usually how much you can sell the business for. Means is about 150 times 3, 450 grand. If you have, it also depends. The multiple depends on so many different factors. It depends on how many products you have. What's your margin? Do you have a patent? Do you have a utility patent? Do you have a design patent? Do you have anything outside of Amazon? Do you have an email list, social media following? Depends on all this stuff. The investor will going to say, okay, your company is worth 3x or 5x or 7x. And of course, e-commerce is hard to get those crazy multiple. Like a SaaS company, you can get 100x because it's a freaking SaaS company. So e-commerce is usually a little bit lower. So 3 to 5 is pretty typical. So let's just say 3. So 450, you can get paid 450 grand by selling the business like 2 years from now. And if you scale it up even further, let's just say you scale your revenue to about, let's just say 2 million a year at 15%. So your net profit will be about 300 grand. 300 grand times by about 3. You can sell a $2 million business approximately for like $1 million. So if the revenue is 2 million, you can sell it for $1 million. How else can you make $1 million within 2 years?
Right.
You know any other investment you can make $1 million in 2 years? Tell me. I'll go invest right now. No other industry you can do that. Even for real estate, I invest in some real estate. It's a long-term game. So you cannot make like a freaking $1 million within 2 years with real estate. It's impossible. But for e-commerce, if you do it correctly, you could. But of course, you also invest a lot of time, energy to build everything up. Of course, the $1 million just don't just come up falling from the sky. You really need to have the structure. You need to have the team, the system. That's what I'm working on with my business. What I am at with the level of my business, what I do every day is to show up to the meetings and make decisions. Show up to the client meeting, show up to me with other people like yourself that's looking for advice, because sometimes I do free coaching like right now. So that's my position, because I already have a decent team. I have 13 people working for me as we speak, and I'm hiring 7 people right now. But when you first started, you won't be in that position that I'm in right now. When I first started, I do everything myself. That's kind of typical. So you also need to slowly scale yourself up. So back to your original question. what do you need to focus on right now is to find the profitable audience that you want to serve, that you feel at least like a little bit passionate about. That help. That really really help. Because the other common issue I have is I'll go to a networking event and talk to like a room full of Amazon seller. They are all doing 7-figure, but half of the room they don't even use the product they sell. I'm serious. They don't even use the product they sell at all. They just treat their product like a cash cow, pretty much. So, oh, I make $1 million selling stupid supplement I don't even use. So, okay, sure, good for you. So that's not a real business in my mind. It's like, is that a real business? Not really, because when you're only selling Amazon, and for example, you have a supplement brand, which is pretty common, a lot of supplement brand. If you start 5 or 6 years ago, you can make a lot of money selling supplement. Is a lot harder nowadays because there's just more competition. When I first started in 2016, you can do all kind of crazy stuff on Amazon. You can buy review, you can like do all kind of weird stuff with Amazon. But now you couldn't do any of that right now. So you really need to learn the role, just like any other businesses. You need to learn about how to market, how to operate efficiently, how to run your e-commerce business like a real business. Because I would say half of the Amazon seller I know, they don't have a real business. They have a job. It's just them, and maybe they have one VA, then they do about 7-figure a year. But if they went, unfortunately, if something happened to them, then for example, they got into the car accident, their business is what? Gone.
Yeah.
Because they are their business. That's the problem with most Amazon sellers. They themselves are the business. They don't have a team. They don't have a structure. They have no SLP. They just got lucky with one product that's selling $1 million a year. So that's another thing to really consider before you go right into the e-commerce space. And there's so many different business models within the e-commerce. You don't have to start your own brand. You can do what I did when I first started. Just buy product from Goodwill, buy product from Salvation Army, and just start it that way. So either you have more time or you have more money to invest. If you have more time, then I'll go the Goodwill route. But you have a little bit of more. If you have, let's just say, 10 grand or 15 grand sitting around, then I would seriously consider looking into private label. So, but it depends on how much initial capital you have. So the strategy will be different.
It's good to know. Yeah. Seeing 10 grand just drop from your bank account or paycheck definitely does not make me want to go that route.
Yeah, that's why I actually suggest don't start right away with private label. Do something a little bit less risky first.
Right.
So you can learn all the in and out of Amazon first. And the best way to start is you go to like a Target or Walmart, go to the clearance aisle and buy something and sell on Amazon first. So at least you can learn the A to Z. Okay, this is how to start Amazon Seller Central account. This is how to ship into Amazon. This is how to deal with Amazon seller support when they lose your stuff. But it's better to lose one item instead of 3,000 items, right?
That is true. That is very true.
Because I just lost 3,000 units. You can just lose like 3 units and you don't lose as much money. So yeah, that would be the best way to start. But I would say Amazon is still the easiest way to start, even in 2023. Because if you compare Amazon to other business opportunity, like, okay, a lot of people say, oh, just do drop shipping on Shopify. You know how freaking hard that is? You know how freaking hard that is? People don't tell you that because they just want to sell you a drop shipping course and say, oh, you have a Lamborghini in 6 months by doing drop shipping. Totally false. Because how do you get people to your website to begin with? You need to pay advertising. You need to spend ad. You need to do a whole bunch of other marketing. People don't just show up and say, oh, let's see, Jason's random Shopify store. I'm just going to buy a lot from a store I never heard of and I don't trust. Doesn't make sense. No one will buy it from the store. That's the problem with dropshipping model, because people make it sound like so easy. Oh, zero capital, zero investment. You can just sell it and drop ship from other people's store, and you make shit out of money, then you become millionaire. Not true. Because people will never show you the nasty part of the business. People only show you when they become successful or they got lucky with their business. Then they'll show you all the Lamborghini they got. And actually, most of the people that show you Lamborghini, they make money by doing what? Sell you the course. They don't actually make a lot of money selling product. They make money by selling the course because that's where the money is. So, yeah.
Good to know.
Does that answer some of your questions? Do you have any other issues or concerns before you start? Do you have a idea of what kind of category you want to start in yet?
I initially thought about fitness in the fitness industry, and I was looking at like just doing resistance bands for now, just because I saw
Oh,
one
bad
that's
idea.
on
Bad
Amazon.
idea.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Bad idea. Getting into a very, very bloody water. You get killed. So ocean full of sharks.
Yeah,
Because
there's a
we,
lot of postings on that, a lot of people selling that, and I'm like, maybe that's not the best route to take.
no. The product you want to sell is something that if you tell to someone, they have no idea what it is. Like,
Mhm.
let me just tell you one of the product I'm launching right now is what is it? I have it right here. It's a weighted animal that looks like this. You have weight in it.
Mm.
It's not a very popular like uh product that everyone is gonna buy because the weighted product is only for like kids with special needs usually, because typical kids doesn't really need their stuffed animal to have weight in it,
Mhm.
but kids like my son do. So that's one of the product I'm currently working on, for example. But it's a very niche product, so that's where you want, not a freaking resistant band. Bad idea. So yeah, I have a product that's very similar to a resistant band, which I can show you. It's a fidget chair band. It's one of my product.
Oh.
But you put it on the chair.
Mhm.
You help kids with ADHD, and so they can fidget while they're sitting in the classroom. But the product itself is actually a resistant band. I just use it differently,
Mhm.
and I use a different material. It's actually our material is actually latex free, because some kids is actually allergic to
Mhm.
rubber, so we use a latex free material. But very similar product to the resistant band. So
Mhm.
yeah. Was that helpful? Any other question I can help you answer? So
No, this is very helpful, especially the very first thing you kind of taught or kind of just gave advice on was not to focus on the product, but focus on the audience. So,
yeah, that's how a lot of people get it wrong. I see most of the seller I
mhm.
talk to is like, oh, I got a full garage of this weird toy that I could not sell. So yeah, because they didn't do their research. So,
Mhm.
and also avoid electronic at all costs when you're a beginner. Do not sell electronic product as a beginner, because there's so much regulations and the return rate for electronic is a lot higher. And also you don't want to look for any product that's design focused. So for example, home decor, you do not want to sell home decor, because when the only reason people buy your design is when they like your design. That's not a good product, because you're not a designer. You're not like, you don't even know what the mom like. How do you come up with the right design? You're just guessing. So that kind of product wouldn't suggest for other product. And any for beginner, anything that's oversized. So anything that the longer size is longer than 25 inches, I will not start as a beginner. That's something you can sell later on when you're more mature in your e-commerce journey. You can sell electronic, you can sell oversized, you can sell all the harder product. But initially, you want to go for like small, lightweighted, something like this. This is one of my products, like a fidget marble maze. So very, very small. Very. Please do not copy my product, because I have so many copycat already. So yeah, this is my product that I told you that we have tons that I launched 2 years ago when no one was selling yet. Now it's like, oh, maybe 20, 30 copycat.
Wow.
A lot of copycat. Actually, every other week I find a new copycat on Amazon. Because the other problem with people on Amazon, when they look at the product, is they go to Jungle Scout or Helium 10 and do what? They do the research.
Yep.
Oh, this product is selling 10 grand or 20 grand a month. It looks so simple. But they didn't see that I have social media, I have emails, I have live streams, I have
Mhm.
all this thing outside of Amazon that they are blind to. They don't see any of that. So they don't see like the reason why I'm selling so well is because I have a big audience outside. So they just say, "Oh, this guy is making tons of money on Amazon. Let's go copy this guy and make just as much money as this guy."
Yep.
Usually, unfortunately, that's usually not the case. Especially when you do the product research, you notice there's one guy outsell everyone on the list in the search result. He's doing something different like us, because we do a lot of things outside. So that's why I dominate the category, whereas everyone else is like, oh, they try to copy us, but they never really go anywhere. And in that case, sometimes I can be very, very aggressive with my competitor too. If I want to, I can outbid everyone so their ads will never show up on my search result. And I can bid $5 to show up on their listing as well. It's called ASIN targeting. It's pretty much I'm trying to squeeze competitor outside of the market if I want to do that. But for me, it's just easier to launch another product sometimes. So I don't always go that route. But that's one route that if you go to a super competitive marketplace like the resistant band, people will do that to you. People will like target your listing like crazy. Sometimes for a nasty seller, they'll buy your product and leave you 1-star review. And they actually don't buy your product directly. They use their team to buy your product. Like they'll ask 10 different people to buy your product. Each one leave you a 1-star review. If you have 10 1-star review in the row, guess what? Your product is dead. No one will ever buy your product because you have like 10 review or 1-star. It's like brand new. It's like, what the heck is wrong with this product? I'm not gonna touch it. So no one's gonna buy the product. So that's how you kill the competition on Amazon. Especially kill the newbie like you. That's a very easy way to kill newbie. So to be honest, there's like 10 different ways to kill newbies nowadays. So because I have so many different weapons, I have so many knowledge. I know of course, I don't do that kind of dirty strategy, even so I could. But I know some people well, especially in supplement or any kind of crazy competitive niche, people do all kind of dirty stuff behind the back. The other dirty strategy they can do is they can merge different Amazon listing. It's called a zombie listing, where you can buy like other product listing that is no longer sell, but they have tons of review. But then they merge into their own listing. Now they have like 500 review. Even so, if you read the review, it's for something totally different. Like, whoa, this guy just had 500 review overnight because he used a zombie listing and merges. Yeah, it's like a lot of crazy, weird strategy people do. So, yeah, when you come to money, people will do all kind of dirty stuff. That's just how it is, unfortunately. And there's a lot of money in e-commerce, as you know. So yeah. Any other questions? So let's see. I have a question here. Do you live stream sell on other platform besides Amazon? Yes, we do. So for our live stream, we do on Facebook, YouTube, and Amazon Live. But live streaming selling is also kind of new for us. We're still beta testing a lot of things that work and doesn't work. If you want to check out our current live streaming platform, I will put a link in the chat here. Go to sensorydeal.com. And that is the main place, one of the main domain we're doing to do weekly live selling. But live selling is a tricky one to figure out. Me and my team is still trying to figure it out as we speak. I can actually share my screen and explain our current kind of strategy for live streaming. I think Phil, for you, is a little bit more advanced strategy because you don't even have a product yet. Once you have a product, it's something you can consider to do in the future, of course. So, but for live streaming selling, let me put it over here so I can explain. So we do it once a week, usually on Thursday, and this is a format that we do it in. We'll do it on Facebook, YouTube, and Amazon Live, and we use a software called BeLive, which is our streaming platform that we usually stream from. And Angela is one of my team members. She runs this particular show. And then usually we'll do an interview style. For example, like Jamie is my social media manager. So they were just showcasing the product, talking about it from the mom perspective, because most of our customers are moms. So they were just kind of chatting and sharing their experience using the product. The product itself is a baby stroller bag. So it's a baby product. So that's kind of live streaming. But for live streaming, you really want to find someone that know the product and also use the product themselves. Usually that tend to work the best. But it's hard. Live streaming selling is not easy. We have been trying this format for past 3-4 months now. We're still testing a lot of issues and still trying to work out our strategy. But as you can see, this is what we do. We do it once a week, and we'll do the live streaming and try to showcase the product to our audience once a week. So. But excellent question. Thank you for asking. So if anyone else that's watching the replay or watching the live that have any question, feel free to drop it into the chat, and we have about 8 more minutes together. Philip, do you have any other question before we wrap?
No, nothing for me. I think you've answered the majority of my questions. You've been
Okay.
very helpful.
Do you have a timeline on when you want to start your e-commerce business?
So, I mean, I actually created an Amazon seller profile. I just haven't had it. Was too scared to just jump in.
Oh, just jump in.
Just do it.
The best way to learn is lose some money. That's how you learn. So you just don't lose as much as I do. Just don't lose that much. So yeah, so that's the best way to learn. And I would suggest really start with the arbitrage route first to get your foot wet. You can try it for a few months, and if you don't like it, just switch business model. I did that for an entire year. That's how I got my initial capital to launch my own brand. I was just working because I'm an agent like to hustle, right? Agent hustle network, right? So I hustle like crazy during the first year. I have a 9 to 5 job. Then after work, I'll go to Goodwells on the weekend. I'll go to Goodwells, and I even rent a storage unit to prep all my books before I ship it into Amazon. So I remember because initially I didn't have a storage unit. I was doing everything from the apartment living room, and my wife kind of get mad because I have book everywhere. So my wife kicked me out of the apartment and say, "Go find your own place. Do not do business here," because we have 3 kids, and tons of stuff in the messy living room. Of course, my wife's not gonna be happy. So that's how I scale. But then that business model burned me out. It was very, very exhausting. Because you need to go to so many different places, pick up the inventory, then you need to label everything yourself, put sticker on it, wipe it down, put it into a box, and ship it into Amazon for FBA, then wait for the money to come in pretty much. So, but I would say for your stage, that's still the easiest to start because you can start out with maybe $500 or $300, just buy a few handful of inventory and test it. And you don't even need to pay any app. Do you know you can download Amazon Seller app? And inside the Amazon Seller app, there's a function say, let me show it to you. Maybe I can show it to you here. Maybe here. So here is you see add a product inside your Amazon Seller app. If you click on add a product, then you can search for any product to sell on Amazon. Then Amazon's going to tell you how much they'll pay you, how much the Amazon fee. Then you can do a calculation on how much profit you can make if you flip this product. If you buy this product at $5 and sell it for 15, how much profit do you make? You don't even need to pay for any other app. Just use the Amazon app to start. You can also scan the barcode using Amazon app, or you can just type it in using Amazon app. And I suggest sell in the category that something that you actually use yourself, so you know the product better. You don't want to sell like a baby product when you don't even have babies. So yeah, you want to sell something that you actually use, so you know you are getting a good deal. That's usually the first way before you start doing any data crunching and stuff. So, and once you identify your categories, then you identify where are the store you can source it at. For example, for toys, there used to be Toys R Us everywhere, so I used to source from Toys R Us. So I was doing textbook, and I was also doing toys for my first year. So I will be flipping used textbook. Then I also buy new toys at clearance aisle at Toys R Us, Target, Walmart, or other places, and I sell it on Amazon as well. So and for my first year, I did about 100,000 in revenue. Not bad for a part-time gig.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But a lot of work, tons of work.
A lot of hours put in, right?
Yeah. Right now, I just sit behind my computer and just talk to people, and money come in. So a little bit different now. I don't need to drive around to like 10 different stores anymore. But initially, you need to do the hard work for the foundation, right? So yeah, that would be my suggestion to start. Do you have a category in mind that you want to start?
I mean, it was the fitness, but now not so much. And I don't know that now.
Fitness. Fitness is a tricky one, but fitness.
I feel like everybody wants to get into that category too.
You can still buy clearance items at the fitness store. That still could you can still try it that way if you want to insist on getting into fitness. So you can go to like TJ Maxx, those kind of clearance. They usually have like a fitness session. It's a yoga mat and some random stuff. You can start there, maybe some random, resistant band if you want to try resistant band so much. So yeah, but you just need to test it so you understand the workflow. And another course I will recommend, actually one of the most affordable one on the internet, is called Proven Amazon course. I will provide the link. That's how I started. I bought this course. Is I will search. I'll put it in the chat. Of course, I'm not an affiliate with them. I actually don't make any money by sharing his course with you, but it was one of the cheapest and the most affordable course. It's only $39. But very, very good content. So for only $39, one of the best course you can buy. Because some course they charge you $1,000, not even as good as this one. So yeah. So if you want to start like retail arbitrage, this will be a good course to, it's only $39. You just go
Right.
drink Starbucks for a week and you have $39. So yeah. So that would be the best place to start. This course is usually more for beginners because they teach you the basic stuff. But they also have some advanced training in the course as well. And I know their team is always adding to it. And they have a giant Facebook group you can join. Of course, I also run a Facebook group, so please join mine first. So I also have a Facebook group called Seller Fuel Tribe. You can find it on Facebook as well.
Okay.
But my group is a lot smaller, only a few hundred people. Proven Amazon course, their Facebook group is 72,000 people, a lot bigger.
Wow.
So yeah, but it's more for beginners. Once you get to a certain level, I would suggest you to go to other group that's more advanced. So this group is usually more for beginner topic, like how do you start, for example, what product to choose. That kind of beginner questions is usually best to ask in that group. And they have paid moderator in that group to teach you and answer your question as well. So that's a wonderful place to start. What else? What other information can I give you? I think that's a good place to start. And I will also suggest you find local e-commerce meetup. I think you say you live in Houston, or you live in Dallas.
Dallas.
I'm pretty sure in Dallas, just go to meetup.com and search for e-commerce meetup. Try to go to those local meetup so you get to meet other people like myself that's already running an e-commerce business in person. That's how I think networking. Do you believe? I believe that's the saying is your net worth is your network is your net worth, right? So you can expand your network by knowing the people in the industry that's already been there, done that, or is currently doing that. Those are the group of people that you want to surround yourself with. Do not listen to your neighbor's advice. Say, "Oh, don't start your own business." But you know what? They are like the 9 to 5 for their entire life.
Right.
Don't listen to the sucker. Don't listen to I call them the energy vampire. Don't listen to the people that always like take energy from you. You want to get into the room where it's very like positive and everyone encourages each other. That's the kind of the people that you want to be part of. So for me, I actually run 2 different virtual mastermind once a week. One is called Seller Fuel Elite. Is everyone in there is doing 7-figure already, and I'm part of another smaller mastermind. People is a little bit smaller in that group. But I always try to surround myself with like-minded entrepreneur or like-minded individual, because at the end of the day, that's how you grow as an entrepreneur. And that's another resource I will actually give it to you as well. It's actually assessment. So I will suggest you to look at this assessment. I'll put a link in the chat, and let me share my screen and explain. Before you start your journey, first of all, are you even the right fit for being an entrepreneur? I don't know that. You don't really know that until you take this assessment. This is a free assessment by eLeap. So it's also called Entrepreneur Leap. So this assessment will only take you about 10 minutes. This assessment is going to let you know, are you an entrepreneur in making? This is critical. If you are not a right personality, you don't have what it takes, 90% chance you are going to fail. Entrepreneurship is not easy. That's why there's only less than 1% of us that actually is entrepreneur. 99% that start and fail. I think there was a U.S. economy stats. 90% of all business fail within the first 5 years. I'm lucky that this is my 6th year, so I already passed that 5 year. So, well, otherwise I'll be the 90% that fail within the first 5 years. So, but the reason why you don't fail is because you need to have a certain personality trait. That's another thing that people don't think about when they start their own business is, oh, I just want to be rich. I just want to have a money, but maybe your personality is not right for it. You can do other stuff, continue what you're doing with your professional career. That might be a better fit for you, but I don't know that. Only you and your heart will know that, right?
Yep.
So that's something you want to figure out, because you don't want to do something that you don't like, then you make your life more miserable. I know
Right.
a lot of entrepreneurs, they are miserable. So they actually don't have a business. They have a job they couldn't get out of. They have a job they invest 300,000 into. So yeah, so that's another thing to think about, and this is a very good assessment to do that. And there's a book called Entrepreneurial Leap as well, is by the same author, that you can look into. If you just look into Entrepreneurial Leap, you should be able to find it. So you can read more about it. They have audiobook version. I would say the number one most important investment you can make in your business is yourself. That's the number one investment. You should invest more into yourself, into your own financial education, into your own knowledge. That is how you become financially free. Have you read a book called Rich Dad Poor Dad by
I
Robert
have, yes.
Kiyosaki?
Yep.
That's what he talked about too. So that's the same concept. He's just not running an e-commerce. He's running a real estate business, but it's the same. Business is business. It's the same. Doesn't matter what kind of business you're in. The mindset is the same. So yeah. Okay. Hopefully this was helpful for you.
It was very informative. I must say that.
Yeah, so you know where to find me, and feel free to join our Facebook group if you have any further questions. And yeah, wish you luck with your journey, and hopefully you can join my 7-figure e-commerce master group in a few years.
I hope so too. No, I really appreciate everything, Jason.
Okay, sounds good. You have a good one. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
bye.
Bye.
Okay, we start.